So I heard the man say, when he got to the beach, the funny thing was, people always want to congregate. You try to get off by yourself so you can have a little space. The beach is empty. You walk over next to a lifeguard station so might be rescued if you got caught in a riptide. And sooner or later, like 15 people are gathered around you. Like the whole beach is open. It's like 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning. You can't go find yourself another patch. You can't find yourself a more, it's got to be you all have to group, like glob on like ants or like bees. Everybody wants to try to, stick together, except for the one thing that happened was when the man first walked down the beach, I heard him telling his buddy, he was in the big parlor room in the interior where they keep the phone. It's not a parlor, it's a phone. It's not a booth, obviously. It's a long corridor with a phone situation and a beautiful doily-covered hardwood table. It's a beautiful phone. It's a big, spacious area that is just for the phone and the usage of the phone. And then it's a hallway that's for people waiting to use the phone or waiting to be dispatched from somebody who's calling in, receiving calls at the manor house, and then needs to dispatch people. I think the most thing they ever did was in the old days, they used to receive a lot of groceries in that hallway. But the man was telling his buddy who was, they were on the phone, and the man says, whenever we get together, we walk down the beach, it could be one or two of us, we plop down on our towel, there's people with, sun tents, and there's people with wind tents, and there's people, all these things that are trying to guard against the elements. I just throw a towel down, I jump on the towel, I get in the ocean, I swim away, I swim back, I get out, I'm wet, I roll around the sand, I'm covered with sand. The man's like, that's what it is, you go to the beach, what are you, stupid? You don't think that's how it is? But he said when he walks down there, he picks a spot out right next to the lifeguard stand, so in case he gets caught in a riptide or a jellyfish should sting his gonads or something horrible happens, he would be safe. But what he doesn't like is that when he plops down, like everybody else is to go plop down near him, it's human beings' natural nature. They want to plop down and sit next to each other. They want to get where they're all congregated. It's like the whole beach is open. You can't walk down except for, and this is what the man looks for, he says if you can find a lone black, maybe it's a black man, especially with a do-rag. Or, he's got to be real dark black. He's a Florida black, you know what I'm saying? And he's really black. He's muscular. He's just wearing his shorts. It's black legs, black torso, black hair, black everything. And that's where you want to get to, not too close to the black guy, obviously. You don't want to crowd the black guy, but you want to go sit next to the black guy. Maybe on the other side of the, on the other side of the black, and then you leave the space between the black guy and the lifeguard stand. That way no one's going to bug you. Go sit next to a black, because none of the whites of Florida, no whites of Florida are looking to try to go sit down next to a black. So the man's like, if I go plop down, I'm the first one there's no blacks around, I just have to sit down by myself. I sit down. Sooner or later, a bunch of idiotic whites, they could be from Quebec. There's the worst whites. They all congregate the worst. They want to sandwich right in. A lot of your Indian blacks, not blacks, but your Indians, your Pakistanians, your everybody, all the people, even bikers, be Italians, bikers, Jews, everybody's trying to congregate into but if you go sit next to a black person or a black family, a man said the other day, I was trying to avoid all these numbnuts. I got down there about 9:30. There was a lone black dude, and so I went and sat down next to the black guy. I gave a good, a fair distance so he could feel comfortable. I wasn't trying to crowd him, but I knew a lot of people were going to congregate. They're going to find some other congregating focal point, and they're all going to congregate against somebody, with somebody else, basically based on the fact that, they're looking to congregate, but they're not going to congregate near me because I've already sat down next to a black. And that's a hilarious thing. As long as you sit down next to a black in a do-rag and he's really dark-skinned, they're not going to congregate around you. So that was kind of funny. But what I noticed was one of those guys, he looked like he was one of those guys from ESPN or Fox News, something. He looked like a really white guy that maybe was going out chopping wood up in the northern realms, This guy had like one of those, He was a ginger. He couldn't tan. He just freckled, but he had spiky, thick hair, almost like a Norwegian, but an off-brand Norwegian. And so basically, he sat down kind of pretty far away from us, but he was the next thing over, and everybody congregated around him. The funny thing was, he didn't like the black guy because, lo and behold, what happens? The black guy, he comes out of the water. He goes in for taking a swim. He comes out and he starts trying to dry his buttocks off. I'm like, maybe this guy's got to go back to work. Maybe this guy is just on his hour lunch and he drives a truck for UPS or something. But this black dude, he was trying to dry his ass off in his crotch. He was doing a lot of yoga moves. He was sticking his ass straight up in the air. He was like doing crouching tiger and downward facing dog. He was sticking his buttocks straight up in the air like it was some kind of a utilitarian flag. Meaning it's okay, it's a utilitarian thing where I'm trying to dry my butt cheeks and my taint and my scrotum and my whatever. The guy was just trying to get his ass dried. He was trying to get his shorts, his underwear, and his ass, his pubes, everything dried. That's the main thing this guy was trying to accomplish. But he was like doing some kind of he like somersaulted forward. He was like doing a forward somersault, but he froze right when his forehead hit the ground, and he left his ass sticking up in there in the ground. And that Norwegian ginger from wherever, he's probably from Quebec, he didn't like it because the black guy was sticking his ass up in there and leaving it up there. I didn't think you could smell nothing. I was like, if this guy's got a grody, stinky ass, then maybe it'll be, obtrusive, but nobody could smell his ass. So I'm like, if he wants to dry his ass off, that's fine by me. I had sat next to him so it would keep me a circle, basically trying to keep away from everybody else. So anyways, the ginger from Norway, he didn't like the fact that the black guy, he almost came over and said something to the black guy, and I give him a dirty look like, leave the black guy alone. Listen, the black guy's the only reason why you're like 50 feet away from me. I don't want no congregating imbeciles around me. I want the lonesome, open beach around me. So that's why I sat down near this, upward facing down dog position black guy so that he could dry his ass off. He could put his ass up in the wind and try to get some good drying effect for his junk in the trunk, so when he goes back to work driving his FedEx truck, he'd have a nice dry ass for himself, and I'm okay with that because he kept all the other people from coming around me. And that's what I was looking for, a little solidarity, you know what I'm saying? Not solidarity, solidarity.